that is very compelling. Or someone had connected that it could have been a remote device that went off. So watch this. Okay.
As he grabs the squib off of Charlie, puts it in his pocket. Watch closely. The one guy grabs the squib, gives it to the guy with the polo. He puts it in his pocket. Now the other guy that I once said, press the remote for the squib, takes the remote, puts it in the other guy's pocket, and he takes off. So the first guy gets the squib that was on the neck. Watch closely. So, boom, shot. There's the guy with the blue, puts it in his pocket. Here's the guy with the remote, puts it in his pocket.
They say every crime leaves evidence, and on paper that sounds comforting, like a universal law that will always lead us back to the truth. But what they don't tell you, what nobody likes to admit out loud, is how effortless it is to make evidence vanish without ever touching a shovel. It's not buried under soil. It's buried under edits, revisions, excuses, legal maneuvers, and a carefully engineered silence. It's hidden in the moments you were never allowed to see, the files marked internal only, the footage trimmed before release, and the conversations that were never written down. That is the real danger here. Not the crime we can point to, but the vacuum left behind by everything that was quietly removed. The public thinks the story starts with the headlines, but the most important part happens before the cameras even start rolling, before the spin doctors craft statements, before press releases sanitize events. There are raw moments, unedited, unfiltered, where the truth still lives. That's where it can be captured, but it's also where it can be intercepted and erased. And once that happens, the official record you're handed isn't a window into reality, it's a storyboard. By the time Charlie Kirk's name became a rallying cry, by the time it was splashed across screens and hashtags, the edits were already done, the angles already chosen, and the inconvenient pieces already gone. What remains is a version of events built not by truth, but by omission. And if you're not actively looking for what's missing, you'll never even know it was there. That's why this moment matters. We're not just talking about what happened to Charlie Kirk. We're talking about what happened in the shadows before anyone thought to look. Because crimes don't just leave evidence, they leave opportunities. And somebody always decides whether those opportunities become justice or become leverage. Think about it for a second. Microphones don't magically clip themselves onto a speaker's jacket. A camera doesn't wander into the perfect angle by instinct. An audio engineer doesn't forget to press record during the most crucial moments of a high-profile event. In the world of live production, there's a process, and that process is documented. Every mic check, every angle adjustment, every sound test is logged or captured somewhere because it's standard operating procedure. It's routine. It's the boring, procedural part of the night that almost no one outside the crew ever thinks about. But that routine is also a paper trail, and paper trails have power. Now here we are, not a day or two later, but weeks on, and somehow the footage of that simple, mechanical, unremarkable moment, the clip of the microphone going on, the sound engineer calling check 1, 2, the camera feed capturing pre-event chatter, has evaporated. And not evaporated like a misplaced file or mislabeled drive. Evaporated like someone poured acid on the record. Missing like hidden. Disappeared in a way that only deliberate action makes possible. You don't lose something that mundane by mistake. You pull it. You flag it. You classify it. When footage is hidden, it's not a glitch. It's a decision. Someone looked at it, recognized its significance, and decided it shouldn't be part of the story the public gets to see. That's how you bury a narrative before it even begins. Not by rewriting the big scene, but by erasing the small ones that prove what really happened. So the question isn't where did the footage go? The question is, who had the authority to make it disappear? Because microphones don't clip themselves on, cameras don't point themselves, and routine recordings don't just vanish. People vanish them. And until we know who and why, every blank space in that timeline isn't an accident. It's a message. We've all been shown the stage, the crisp, polished angles, the carefully edited reels that frame the story in a way that feels neat and resolved. We've been fed the official narrative, the approved shots, the version of reality that fits into a press release or a headline. But the raw, unvarnished moments, the second before Charlie Kirk stepped into that light, the hallway chatter, the routine but telling exchanges behind the curtain, they're gone. No hallway camera feed, no microphone check, no scratchy technician booth audio capturing orders or background noise. What the public has been given instead is a puzzle where the corners look perfect, but the middle pieces, the ones that actually form the picture, have been quietly removed. We're asked to assemble it, nod our heads, and pretend the missing parts don't matter, as if the lead up to the moment isn't as critical as the moment itself, as if context is irrelevant. It's a kind of sleight of hand. Show the audience the act, but never the setup, and in doing so, you control the story without ever appearing to lie. That's the danger. It's not just about what we're shown. It's about what we're denied. Those gaps aren't random. Those blind spots don't appear by chance. Every camera in a public venue is placed intentionally. Every mic check creates a digital footprint. Every technician booth has redundancies built in for accountability. You don't lose all of that by coincidence. You suppress it. You remove it because it might reveal something inconvenient, something that shifts the frame. And yet, we're supposed to shrug and move on, to accept a narrative where the connective tissue between events is gone. But stories are built on those in-between moments, the seconds, the whispers, the decisions no one thought we'd notice. Without them, what's left isn't truth. It's theater. And someone somewhere is banking on the public not caring enough to ask why the most ordinary, documented parts of the night have vanished. But there's a name that refuses to fade from this story, no matter how many press releases or headlines try to shift the focus. Tyler Robinson. He's not a suspect. He's not a hero. He's not a villain. He's just there, embedded so close to the center of events that his presence alone has become a question mark. He was close enough to see things most people couldn't, close enough to hear conversations no audience, microphone picked up, maybe even close enough to know truths that haven't surfaced yet. His proximity isn't a rumor whispered on social media. It's a documented fact. He was there. He had access. He had time. And access plus time isn't just coincidence. It's opportunity. It means Tyler may have held a perspective nobody else did, a camera angle, a recording, a fragment of context that could either confirm or destroy the official version. In an age where every second of public life is filmed from a dozen different devices, that kind of vantage point is rare. It's powerful. It's the kind of thing that can change the entire shape of a story. But then, whatever he captured, if he captured anything at all, didn't trickle out, didn't leak onto obscure forums, didn't appear in archive waiting for subpoena. It simply vanished. Not misplaced. Not technical error. Vanished. Gone as if it never existed. And disappearances like that aren't random. They're deliberate. They mean someone intervened, whether that was Tyler himself, acting out of fear or self-preservation, or someone above him, reaching in and erasing the only copy before it could ever see daylight. That's what makes his name so heavy in this narrative. Tyler Robinson isn't just a bystander anymore. He's a gap in the timeline. A human-shaped blank space where an answer should be. Until the truth about what he saw and what he recorded surfaces, his presence isn't neutral. It's a signal, pointing at the parts of the story, that someone is still working very hard to keep hidden. Who handled the mic pack before Charlie even touched it? Was it passed from hand to hand in a routine shuffle of staffers and technicians? Or was there a moment, one moment, where it sat with someone who shouldn't have had it? Who actually reviewed the recordings after the event? Scrolling through feeds, deciding which angles to push live and which to hold back. And why were some shots broadcast instantly, packaged and polished for the public, while others disappear without a trace? That's not a random glitch in a live feed. That's a choice. Someone somewhere flipped a switch and decided what the world would see and what it wouldn't. And then there's Tyler Robinson. Did he hold footage he couldn't release, footage that might have contradicted the official version of events? Or was it taken from him before he had the chance to act? Seized, wiped, extracted under pressure, or simply deleted in a way that left no forensic trail? These aren't wild hypotheticals. They're practical questions about chain of custody, access logs, and file transfers, because you don't need a confession to raise suspicion. You don't even need a smoking gun. All you need is access, the ability to touch a piece of evidence, to move it, to alter it, to delay its release, and a missing piece of story. That alone changes everything. It turns routine procedure into a potential cover-up. It turns a technician into a gatekeeper. It turns a name like Tyler Robinson from A footnote into a question mark. And right now, that question mark is growing. It's expanding with every day that no footage emerges. Every hour the missing angles stay missing. Who handled the mic pack? Who controlled the feeds? Who sat in the booth and decided which moments would survive? Until those answers surface, the clean, seamless narrative we've been handed isn't proof of transparency. It's proof of how easy it is to control a story by erasing its most ordinary details. This isn't just about one man's death or a single act of sabotage. It's about the machinery behind the moment, how stories are rewritten in real time, not with red pens, but with missing files and silenced witnesses. It's about how silence itself becomes a weapon, how withholding a clip can be as powerful as a press conference, how the absence of soundbite can shape an entire narrative. This is the part most people never see, not the spectacle, but the editing room where decisions are made about what survives history and what gets buried under technical issues and lost footage. People like Tyler Robinson, whether they're innocent bystanders, terrified insiders, or complicit players, become pressure points in that larger game. They're the ones who accidentally hold a piece of the puzzle too hot to handle. They're the names whispered in back rooms because they were there at the wrong time, with the wrong access, holding something that could unravel the official version. Whether they know it or not, they become leverage, pawns in a narrative war where information is currency and silence is the buyout. Suppressed footage doesn't just protect the past. It protects someone's future. It safeguards careers, reputations, deals, and strategies we're not supposed to know exist. It shields those who planned, those who failed, and those who benefited from the chaos. And every second that footage stays missing, every hallway camera that goes dark, every mic check that never appears in archive is another brick in that wall of protection. This isn't conspiracy for conspiracy's sake. It's a pattern, a repeated tactic where removing context controls perception. Because if you can erase the lead-up, you can rewrite the ending. And until someone breaks that silence, until those hidden pieces resurface, the official story isn't just incomplete. It's engineered. It's curated. It's a weapon pointed at the truth. And the trigger isn't a gun. It's a delete button. We're told to accept the polished package, to trust the edited version as if it's gospel. We're told the gaps don't matter, that the missing angles were trivial, that the cutaways and omissions mean nothing. But silence disguised as reassurance is the oldest trick in the book. The moment we stop demanding answers, the moment we nod along to the official version, we stop being spectators. We become accomplices. Because every unasked question is a quiet favor to whoever's holding those missing clips. Every shrug is permission. Think about that. Someone had the authority to strip away the raw feeds, the hallway shot, the mic check, the booth chatter, and leave us with only the version they wanted us to see. That isn't just editing. That's control. And when control is that precise, that absolute, you have to ask, what was in those missing frames that made them so dangerous? What detail was so threatening it had to be scrubbed before the public could blink? So ask yourself, what's more dangerous? The tragic moment that happened to Charlie Kirk, or the effort, the calculation, the sheer determination it takes to bury the lead-up? Because what somebody is working this hard to keep hidden isn't background noise. It's the heart of the story. It's the part that decides whether this was chaos or orchestration, accident or intent. Until the uncut files surface, nobody walks away clean. Everyone who had access, everyone who touched the feeds, everyone who insists there's nothing to explain stays under suspicion. Especially the ones who talk the loudest about transparency while keeping their hands behind their backs. Because in the end, the missing footage isn't just about what we weren't allowed to see. It's about what they were desperate enough to erase and what that desperation reveals. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Every single one matters. Tell us where you're watching from, because this isn't just a story locked inside one city or one courtroom. It's something bigger, something anyone anywhere can recognize when they see the signs. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay with us, because this isn't the end of the investigation. It's only the beginning. The truth isn't lost. It's being kept, locked behind doors, hidden in drives, edited out of timelines, tucked away where only a handful of people can reach it. But hidden doesn't mean gone. Suppressed doesn't mean destroyed. It just means someone is working control when and how it surfaces. That's why staying connected matters. That's why your voice, your comments, your questions push back against the silence. Every share, every comment, every subscription isn't just a number. It's a signal to the people who want this buried, to the ones who believe no one's watching. It's proof the audience isn't asleep, that the missing pieces will be searched for and dragged back into the light. Because the truth may be out of sight right now, but it's not out of reach. And together, we intend to find it piece by piece, no matter how hard someone tries to hide it.